What's up guys, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this sort of unplanned video. Today I am going to be talking about a new way to look at art block. Now let me preface this a little bit about how this idea came to mind. As many of you know, I'm going through my first rounds of finals in grad school. Pray for me. It's been a very stressful experience for me, and I started noticing that my creativity was a little bit depleted because it was the last thing on my mind in the face of finals and papers and projects. And I kind of thought about how a lot of you guys could probably relate to that. A lot of you have gone through stressful things in your life, be it with school or work or family or friends. And when we're going through those stressful periods in our lives, our creativity seems to be a lot less. And it got me thinking about this concept that we learn about in psychology called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, this guy Maslow basically came up with this pyramid that's broken apart into 5 tiers. At the bottom tier, you have your physiological needs. These are like your needs to sleep, eat, drink water, those kinds of things. So our basic physical needs. Then above that, you have your safety needs, which is the need to feel secure where you are in your environment and have consistency with those physiological needs. So having consistent meals and consistent sleep schedules, that's what gives you that feeling of safety, and that's what satisfies that need. Then above safety, you have social needs. This is basically our innate human nature to connect with others. So this is like your friends and your family and your internet friends, because I believe that they count in this category as well. And so once you kind of have those social connections, you can move on to the next tier, which is your esteem needs. So this is basically where your confidence and your self-image develops. And then at the very top of the pyramid, we have something called self-actualization. And at the very top of this pyramid is where creativity lives. So what's important to note about this pyramid is that each of the tiers are dependent on the tier below it being met. So you can't reach your safety needs until your physiological needs are met. You can't reach your social needs until your safety needs are met, and so on and so forth. So you can't theoretically achieve self-actualization and creativity until all of the other 4 tiers of needs are met. So what this does is it really challenges the idea of the starving artist, right? Because we have this idea in our head that artists only create good art in the face of adversity and when they're being challenged and they have an obstacle that they need to overcome. And while that certainly might be true for some people, it's really hard to get in the creative mindset if you don't know where your next meal is coming from and you haven't been sleeping well and you don't have those social connections because you're isolating yourself to work. And I want you guys to be aware that this can sort of become a vicious cycle for those of you that are dependent on your artwork as a job, because your physiological needs are going to depend on the income that you get from your art. So if you aren't feeling creative and making art, then you're not going to generate income that can pay for your food and your housing. And I know that this is immensely more complicated for those of you out there that are going through that cycle. And I just want to let you know that I understand that. And this oversimplification of showing you guys like this pyramid is really just to demonstrate this new concept in theory. I know like in practice, it's not that simple, but I just thought that this was a really unique way to look at art block. Because if we look at this pyramid, art block is sort of our body's internal alarm system telling us that our basic needs aren't being met and that we can't continue to be creative. We can't unblock our art block until those basic needs are met. So I think this is a really interesting thing, and it may be something that a lot of you out there need to hear because maybe you're just not taking care of yourself. And so for the second half of this video, I'm going to be giving you guys ideas on how to take care of yourself and how to help meet those basic needs so that you can get up to that creativity tier a lot faster and hopefully stay there a little bit longer as well. So the first couple tips that I have to help you tackle art block are dealing with the bottom tiers of this Maslow's hierarchy pyramid. So your physiological needs and your safety needs. Basically, the first tip that I have for you is to strive for consistency whenever and wherever possible. try and have your meals at the same time every day, or if not all of your meals, just try and have one meal a day at the same time. That will relieve some of your body's stress about when your next meal is coming from, and if you're going long periods of time without eating, it will kind of help stifle your body's internal alarm to freak out about that, because it knows that at least one of your meals is accounted for. The same can be said for waking up and falling asleep at the same time every night. I know this is so immensely difficult for those of us with a hectic schedule. I know I've had a hard time implementing this recently, but if you have a hectic work schedule and you're staying up late and getting up early and then crashing on the weekends, your body doesn't know when its next restful night of sleep is coming from. So it's your brain freaking out because your body is having an inconsistent sleep schedule. So the brain is telling you to sleep as much as possible to kind of harvest those restful hours so that you can utilize them the next time you go a long time without sleeping. So even if you can't implement the same sleep-wake schedule 7 days a week, try and do it at least 5 days a week or 4 days a week. Just try doing it more than you are now, especially those of you that have been dealing with art block for a long time and you just can't seem to shake it. Implementing something as simple as an eating and sleeping schedule can really shake things up for you, and I think it would probably do us all some good. The next bit of advice that I have can sort of fit in several places in the pyramid, but it's basically just to get up from your desk and do a little bit of exercise. Artists tend to live pretty sedentary lives, and we tend to spend hours on end sitting at our desk without moving. So every 30 minutes to an hour or so, it's a good idea to just get up from your desk and do a 30-second exercise. It can be that fast, but it gets your body moving and it gets your blood flowing in a way that's going to be really beneficial for your body long term. So something as simple as doing 10 jumping jacks or a 30-second plank exercise or some sit-ups. That can wake your whole body up, and it can kind of help get your creative juices flowing as well. So it helps with kind of opening the door for creativity as well. The next piece of advice that I have is to drink water. I always have a water bottle within 12 inches of me at all times, and that's because it's so much easier to drink water when it's always available. So I always have water bottles like this. This is a 24-ounce Contigo water bottle. They're pretty good. I recommend them. You can get one of these and fill it up 4 times a day, and your body is going to thank you. It gives you a reason to get up and go to the bathroom and take 10 steps that you wouldn't have otherwise taken. So even though it takes you away from your work and your desk for a few minutes every day, which I know can be stressful, your body is going to thank you. And it's so important to take care of your body, especially when you're not moving around a lot, because you're not getting that physical activity. So the foods and the energy that you're putting into your body is that much more important. Next, I want to talk about wrists. So artists are kind of notorious for having really awful wrists, and I know I've really been slacking on taking care of mine recently, and so I made the jump to purchasing some wrist brace online. These are from Amazon. I will link them down below. The brand is called Mueller. I have one for my right and my left wrist actually, and I wear them at night to help stabilize my wrists so that they don't lay like this when I'm sleeping. But these are really nice, especially if you're going to be drawing or typing for long hours a day. You can just throw this on and it's going to help prevent your wrist from straining, and it really helps prevent like carpal tunnel and chronic wrist pain from developing. In addition to having a wrist brace, it's a really good idea to start practicing some basic wrist exercises. I recently saw a tweet that kind of showed examples of these, and I will put that on the screen. I will link it down below, and I will also insert a video clip of me doing some of these exercises, because I do think that this is going to be something that's really, really helpful for you guys. And even if you can't get up from your desk and do 10 jumping jacks, at the very least, stretch out your wrists and make sure that they're doing okay and that you're keeping them nimble and strong. That way you're not having to be out of work for months at a time due to a wrist injury, because that could be stressful. Now, the next couple tips that I have to do with the upper tiers of the pyramid. So after you kind of implemented some of the tips that I just talked about, you can move on to some of these tips, which are going to help you with your social, esteem, and creativity needs. So the first tip that I have is to make connections with people that have similar interests to you. And this can be in person or online, or preferably both. So that way you always have access to people if you need that social support. So consider joining a club at school. I had an art club in high school that was pretty fun. Even though we didn't do a whole lot, it was nice just to like sit around and talk about similar interests. You can also join many online forums and groups and social media pages that always focus on similar interests. You can find one out there for just about everything. literally. And you could also look to see if you have any local community groups that interest you and are maybe doing community projects that you could get involved in. Next is to post your art online, and this is good for several reasons, because it can help boost your confidence if people like what you do and comment and share. It is also a good experience to test the strength of your self-esteem, and if people leave unwanted critiques on your artwork, it's a good opportunity for you to learn how to cope with that and how to move on from it. And I say this with an asterisk because I know that unwanted art critiques aren't something I support. However, it is something unavoidable, and I actually owe a lot to people that have left snarky comments on my artwork online, because a lot of the times I don't want to admit it, but they're right. I could be doing better. And even though they could have phrased it better, and I take what they say with a grain of salt, I always use that as a motivation to get better. And this kind of leads me into my next point, which is looking back at your old artwork to see how much you've improved. I talk about this all the time, and it is so important to hold on to your old artwork for when you're having a bad day and you can look back on it and laugh and say, okay, it could be worse. And I do this a lot of the time with my old artwork, and I get a serious kick out of it, so I always recommend doing that as well. And then the last thing is to not shrug off compliments. When people comment on your artwork telling you that they like it, it's because they really like it. So few people take the time out of their day to tell you that you did something that they really liked. Most people will just double tap or give it a like and then move on, but the people that take the time to comment and tell you that you did something awesome mean it. So hold on to that and cherish it, and don't just shrug it off as being like, they don't mean that, or they're just trying to get attention. Take that compliment and know that it reflects your hard work. So to close off the video, I kind of just want to talk about how we should reinvent this hierarchy of needs to better suit artists in general. So I came up with a little bit of a different version that I want to leave you with, and that is this version right here, where our bottom tier is to take care of your body, the middle tier is to take care of your mind, and the top tier is to take care of business. So I hope you've liked this video today. I know it was kind of different for me, but I hope that this new way of looking at art block has helped you and maybe motivated you to make some healthy changes in your life so that you can get back to business. But that's it for me today, guys. I am off to go study my little heart out, and I will see you guys Wednesday with a brand new video. Bye, guys.